Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am joined by guest Austin Gipe today to make predictions on the Eagles versus Cowboys game that is coming up this Saturday. The Cowboys are coming off of blowing a 17-point lead to the Jaguars. The Eagles, however, have their quarterback Jalen Hurts injured with the shoulder. It looks unlikely that he's going to play, which means Gardner Minshew is in line to start for the Eagles this Saturday. There's also been a trust issue that's kind of been going on with Dak Prescott lately. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. How much can Dak Prescott be trusted for the Cowboys moving forward?
I don't think he can be very trusted. I mean, this season, I guess we have to wait, but going forward, I don't think he's ever going to be a quarterback that can take the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. I mean, we saw it against Jacksonville. They're up 27-10 in the third quarter, and him and Mike McCarthy just don't know how to clock manage. I mean, the Jaguars are a good team. They're a lot better than they were last year, so it's not as humiliating to lose to them. But the way we lost to them when we could have stayed 2 games back and had a huge opportunity this coming Saturday against the Eagles, win that game with Hurts out. And who knows, Hurts probably would have played if we had beaten Jacksonville. But the fact that we keep missing out these opportunities to close out games, it was the same way with the Packers game. We were up 28-10 or 28-14 in the third quarter, let Rodgers do his thing to us, and now we've lost 2 road games that we really should have won. I mean, we easily could be 12-2 right now, talking about winning Saturday night and then getting the 1 seed going into the playoffs. But now it's going to look like we're going to be the 5th seed. And as I'm going to predict, we're going to go to Tampa Bay first round of the playoffs, and we're going to lose to Tom Brady, because that happens every freaking year we play Tom Brady. I can already envision it. It's been happening for a month now that we're lined up to play Tampa Bay in Tampa, and we're not going to show up. I can tell you right now, we're not going to beat Tom Brady, no matter how bad the Bucs are playing right now, no matter how bad that division is. We're not going to beat Tom Brady in the playoffs, and he's going to go on to the next round, and we aren't.
And you got to remember this, the Cowboys, they got blown out to Brady at home earlier in the year, too. That was opening night, week 1, as a matter of fact. But to answer my own question about Dak Prescott, I don't think you can trust him very much for this year. Do I think Dak Prescott's a good quarterback? Yes, I think he's a good quarterback. I'm actually going to be willing to say that he's probably a top 10, top 12, top 13 kind of QB. He's certainly better than your average QB. But is he in that category where you can say you can win a Super Bowl with Dak Prescott? No way. No way I'm saying that about Dak Prescott. He's a good quarterback, but he's not a quarterback that you can go all the way with unless you give him a loaded team like the San Francisco 49ers. But anyways, when you look at Dak Prescott, he's thrown 11 interceptions this year. I believe that he's thrown 5 in the last 3 games. Dak Prescott, he was usually known as a guy that took good care of the football until this year. Then all of a sudden this year, he's turned to a very high turnover-prone guy. And unfortunately for Dak Prescott, he hasn't necessarily played well the last 2 weeks, because you talk about how the Cowboys, they could be 12-2, but they could very easily only have 9 wins on the year, because they almost lost to the Houston Texans too. I mean, if it wasn't for a 98-yard game-winning drive by Dak Prescott against the Houston Texans, they would have lost to what is now a 1-win team against the Texans, which means that the Cowboys, you don't know what you're getting from them from game to game. Do I think that they're going to end up getting a favorable matchup in the wild card round? Yeah, probably. They're probably going to play the Bucs. I think that the Panthers are even still in that race, as a matter of fact. I know that you might not feel that way, but I think the Panthers are still going to be in that race. But even then, the Cowboys, at best, they're probably going to win a wild card matchup, then they're probably getting killed in the divisional round, unless they play the Vikings or something like that. The Dallas Cowboys would have to play an extremely favorable matchup. They would have to have things going their way if they want to go far in the playoffs. I don't think they can go far by themselves. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Dak Prescott, how much trust do I have in him? I'd say I probably have like a 5 in him. I don't have a ton of trust in him.
He's won 1 playoff game in the 6 years he's been with the Cowboys. I mean, he lost the 49ers last year. That was an entire freaking mess. I'm not going to really put as much blame on him for losing to the Packers his rookie year, because even though we were the 1 seed, I mean, he was just a rookie and it's Aaron Rodgers. So I'm not going to put as much on him for that. Beat Seattle in 2018 and then lost right away to LA when they went to the Super Bowl. Didn't make the playoffs again until last year. So it's really been a hit or miss season for the Cowboys. This is the first time the Cowboys have made the playoffs back-to-back seasons since 2006, 2007, which is a great accomplishment. But it doesn't feel that way going in because of the teams we've lost to and how bad we've looked. Our defense that's been the pride of our team all year, but it's looking pretty shaky now because we only have one good corner. Anthony Brown went down with Achilles tear, ACL tear a few weeks ago, and now we're having open tryouts for a corner spot between like Kelvin Joseph and Trayvon Mullen, who we just brought in off of waivers. If we're having to think about using Trayvon Mullen in big time moments in playoff games, then we really are in a bad spot. And with Mike McCarthy's clock management, we're never going to keep the offense on the field to let the defense rest up. And that's just going to be a recipe for disaster when you're coming against teams like Tom Brady and the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs.
Yeah, and speaking of the Philadelphia Eagles, all right, so we got our takes about Dak Prescott. Let's talk about the actual game itself. So, no Jalen Hurts, it seems like, for the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, so what do you think is going to happen this Saturday? You think the Cowboys are going to win this, and what's going to be the score?
Well, if the Cowboys don't win, then that's really an abomination that really needs to be looked at from a higher up level in the organization because Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback in this football league, but he's not Jalen Hurts with his mobility. But I will say the one thing Minshew has going for him is that the Eagles have probably a top three offensive line in the league, and they're going to give him time and the ability to make plays down the field. He may not be as active with his legs, but he doesn't need to be when going against the Cowboys. He can really pick apart the defense. I know we've been talking about how Dan Quinn's doing a great job this year, but he has had some moments where the defense has looked suspectable, especially in the second half against the Jaguars and the Packers a few weeks ago. The running game is going to be really important for Dallas, getting the line established against Philly's defensive line. But I think the Cowboys should win, but it really doesn't matter at this point because the Eagles can have the one seed.
I mean, at least if they win, though, then you know that the Cowboys are firmly going to be put into the fifth seed more than likely, and that means they're going to get likely a more favorable wild card matchup. That means they're probably going to play the Bucks or whoever wins the NFC South. But if Jalen Hurts was playing, I would pick the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game, but Gardner Minshew is the starting quarterback, and Gardner Minshew, he's not a bad quarterback at all. I actually think that he's probably one of the best backup quarterbacks in football, but no, I don't see him winning this weekend as far as I'm concerned because I think the Cowboys, they're going to stay locked in. They're going to make sure they don't blow another lead, and I think they're going to come out strong, and I actually think that the Cowboys could probably pour it on the Philadelphia Eagles if the Philadelphia Eagles don't get this thing rolling early. And I think we had you on in the show before, right? Before the year started, I think I said that the Philadelphia Eagles were going to go to the Super Bowl. And right now, and at the time, that was a hot take. But now it seems like almost a foregone conclusion that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to go to the Super Bowl, just simply because the NFC is so weak in and of itself, and that the Eagles seem to be the most consistent team. But I think the Eagles are due for a loss. They're 13-1. It's really hard to finish the season, a 17-game season, let alone with one loss. I think this is going to be one of the games that they will lose. They're not at full strength. It's a divisional game. You have to throw the records out. I think the Cowboys are going to come out with more energy because they got more to prove than the Philadelphia Eagles. So I think the Cowboys are going to go out there, and Dak Prescott, usually when he starts out hot, he usually pours it on because that's what he usually does. The bad teams or teams that are injured, he does a good job pouring it on. So what do you think the score prediction is going to be?
I think it's going to be 27-17 Dallas. I think the Eagles get some points to the board, but second half offense is going to stall out when the Dallas figures out how to scheme around Minshew and the Eagles offensive attack. And then Dallas is going to start off a little slow early, and then second half they're really going to get that ground game going. They need to get Zeke and Pollard involved. Last week against Jacksonville, it seems like they completely avoided the run the second half. Like on third down, when we're up 3 with a minute left, we're throwing a fade on 3rd and 10 instead of running the ball, making Jacksonville use their last timeout. I mean, that's really showing bad clock management and coaching ability by Mike McCarthy. I don't think that's going to have to come into play this coming Saturday, but I guess we're going to see. I think Cowboys win by 10, where it's a game where they really are in control the whole time, but the score is closer than it really is. I'm actually going to disagree with you on your Super Bowl pick because I was thinking maybe the Eagles all season with how good they've looked, but I'm actually going to go with the San Francisco 49ers to make the Super Bowl because no matter who they have at quarterback, Trey Lance going down week 2 with his broken foot, Jimmy Garoppolo going down, season ending, Brock Purdy stepped up and looked really good. The Niners passing game and their scheme makes it really easy for quarterbacks to plug in and play, especially their running game. Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, George Kittle blocking along with a star offensive line. And the Niners defense is really the key of that team. They're not going to let anyone put up 20 points on them. And I know the Eagles have Jalen Hurts and they have that amazing offensive line, but the Niners are the only team in the league that can get consistent pressure on Jalen Hurts and cause them into making mistakes like he did last year against the Bucs in the playoffs. So especially if the Niners can somehow get a home playoff game, which I don't think they will because they think they're too far back. But I think the Niners are going to make the Super Bowl right now with how they're looking and how easy Brock Purdy's making it look for a first-year rookie quarterback.
I mean, I see where you're going because the Niners defense, they are amazing. But I also don't see that happening because at some point, Brock Purdy's going to have to play from behind. Yes, I know about that defense, but he's going to have to play from behind. We haven't really seen Brock Purdy come back from behind. Haven't really seen him overcome a deficit. And we know at some point in the NFL, he's going to have to learn how to overcome that. I mean, all quarterbacks do. I mean, look at your Cowboys. Cooper Rush looked unstoppable for 5 games. And then what happened when he fell behind? He ended up not really looking like a good quarterback as far as I'm concerned. So you just look at that for someone like Brock Purdy. You know what? He's been a great story, but I'm not going to pick him to go to the Super Bowl. I still believe in the Philadelphia Eagles as far as I'm concerned. I just think that the Eagles, they have more offensive firepower. I think that they have the O-line that can somewhat neutralize the defensive line. And they got Jalen Hurts, who's an elite quarterback as far as I'm concerned, at least for this year. But yeah, back to the Eagles and Cowboys game. Yeah, I'm going to go Cowboys by 11. I think the Cowboys are going to win this 31-20. I think Gardner Minshew's Eagles go ahead and score a garbage time touchdown. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. All right, so thanks for being on the show, Austin. Appreciate you coming on. Yeah, appreciate you coming on here to talk about the level of trust that we have in Dak Prescott and what the Eagles-Cowboys game is going to be looking like. So, yeah, thanks for being on here, man.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, and also make sure you follow Austin's Instagram at austin.gipe. That's his Instagram. I'm going to leave that in the description box below. All right, see ya, bro.
See ya. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. That was Austin Gipe that you guys just heard. All right, so he gave his analysis on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. He doesn't seem to have a lot of trust in Dak and the Cowboys in terms of believing in Dak Prescott himself because he's been struggling as of lately. Meanwhile, I'm like, I don't have a lot of trust in him either, but it's not like I completely untrust him. So it's like out of 5 out of 10. So that's how I'm feeling. So Austin Gipe, he's got the Cowboys by 10. I got the Cowboys by 11. So that's where I'm going. But we think that the Philadelphia Eagles, they're not going to look quite the same without Jalen Hurts. So that's where we're at. So that is why both Austin and I have the Cowboys winning by double-digit points in terms of the point margin. So that's how we're feeling. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the at Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Dustin Tran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter at Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.